Welcome to the Frontline Voices. Before we begin this mind-bending story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit that subscribe button. Dr. Marcus Chen had been analyzing deep space transmissions for NASA for 12 years, but nothing had prepared him for what started arriving on May 15th. Every day, at exactly 14:37 UTC, a signal from Mars. Clear, unmistakable, and speaking in perfect English. But the voice delivering the message was his own, saying words he'd never spoken, describing events that hadn't happened yet. Until the day the voice started giving him instructions that would change everything he believed about time, space, and his own destiny. NASA's Deep Space Communications Complex in Goldstone, California, was humanity's ear to the cosmos. Dr. Marcus Chen worked in Station 43, monitoring signals from Mars missions, deep space probes, and searching for any anomalous transmissions that might indicate extraterrestrial intelligence. Marcus had dedicated his life to this work. MIT graduate, PhD in astrophysics, 12 years with NASA. He'd processed thousands of signals, analyzed countless data streams. Nothing surprised him anymore. Until May 15, 2024. At exactly 14:37 UTC, his equipment registered an incoming transmission from Mars. Strong signal, clear frequency, 1420.4 MHz, the hydrogen line. But this wasn't from any NASA mission. Marcus adjusted his headphones and listened. "Marcus, if you're hearing this, everything is about to change." He froze. The voice was speaking English, clear, unfiltered, with perfect pronunciation. But more than that, the voice was his own. Marcus yanked off his headphones and stared at the equipment. Signal still coming through. He checked the source coordinates. Definitely Mars, specifically the Crace Planitia region. "This is impossible," he muttered, putting the headphones back on. "I know you think this is impossible," the voice continued, as if responding to him. "I thought the same thing when I first arrived here. Marcus, you need to listen very carefully. In 3 days, NASA will detect a massive solar flare. Don't let them send the Artemis crew to the moon." The transmission ended. Total duration, 47 seconds. Marcus ran diagnostics on all his equipment. Everything was functioning normally. Signal origin confirmed. Mars. Voice pattern analysis. Matched his own vocal signatures perfectly. He saved the recording and sat in stunned silence. Someone was playing an elaborate prank. Had to be. The next day, 14:37 UTC, the signal came again. "Marcus, it's day 2. You ran diagnostics yesterday, didn't you?" "Of course you did. I remember doing the same thing. The solar flare will be detected tomorrow at 09:15 UTC. X-class, possibly X-28. It will disrupt all satellite communications for 6 hours." Marcus immediately pulled up solar weather data. No flares predicted. Space Weather Prediction Center showed quiet conditions. But he marked the time, 9:15 UTC, May 17th. The third day, Marcus arrived early. He'd barely slept, couldn't stop thinking about the impossible transmissions. At 09:15 UTC, he watched the solar monitoring stations. 09:15:03 UTC. Alert. Major solar flare detected. X-class event in progress. Marcus's hands trembled as he answered his phone. "Dr. Chen, this is Mission Control. We have a solar event. Need your assessment for Artemis launch window." At 14:37 UTC, the third transmission arrived. "I told you about the flare, Marcus. Now you're starting to believe. This is urgent. The Artemis mission cannot launch tomorrow. The solar radiation will interact with lunar regolith in an unexpected way. There will be an explosion. 3 astronauts will die." Marcus was shaking now. The voice was definitely his. Every intonation, every speech pattern. But how could he be on Mars? "I know what you're thinking," the voice continued. "How am I here?" The answer is a quantum entanglement on a scale we never imagined. But that's not important right now. What matters is that you stop the launch." Marcus ran to his supervisor's office. "Dr. Patterson, we need to delay the Artemis launch." "Why? The solar flare will be over by then." I have concerns about residual radiation effects." Dr. Patterson studied him. "Marcus, you look terrible. When's the last time you slept? Please, just delay it 24 hours. Run additional radiation assessments." "Based on what data?" Marcus couldn't tell him about the transmissions. Who would believe him? "Just trust me. Please." Dr. Patterson reluctantly agreed to recommend a 24-hour delay for additional safety checks. Day 4 brought more details. "Good work delaying the launch, Marcus. But this is just the beginning. In 2 weeks, you'll receive assignment to analyze signals from the European Mars orbiter. There will be an anomalous reading in the Valles Marineris Canyon. Don't ignore it. That's how this all starts." Day 5, the voice explained more. "I'm you, Marcus. From a timeline where the Artemis explosion happened, where we lost public support for space exploration, where humanity never made it to Mars until I found a way to send consciousness back through quantum tunnels embedded in radio waves." Day 6 brought technical details that were beyond current understanding. The quantum tunneling effect occurs when consciousness aligns with specific electromagnetic frequencies. Your brain processes at 40 Hz gamma waves. When modulated with Mars's natural magnetic field resonance at 1420.4 MHz, consciousness can transcend linear time. Marcus had stopped sleeping entirely. He was taking notes, recording everything, running calculations. The physics was impossible, but somehow mathematically consistent. Day 7. "Marcus, you need to eat. You need to sleep. I remember this phase. You're going to make yourself sick if you don't take care of yourself." Even concerned for his own well-being across time and space. Day 10 brought the critical information. "The European orbiter will detect the anomaly tomorrow at 1623 UTC. Valles Marineris. Coordinates 14 degrees south, 59 degrees west. It's not equipment malfunction. It's a quantum beacon I've established using the cave systems. That signal will guide the first successful manned mission to Mars." Day 11, exactly as predicted, the European Space Agency detected an unusual but consistent signal from the Valles Marineris region. Dr. Patterson called Marcus into his office. "We're getting reports of anomalous readings from the ESA Mars orbiter. They want NASA's analysis." "I'll handle it," Marcus said immediately. Day 15 brought the biggest revelation. "Marcus, the mission that brings me to Mars launches in 18 months. You'll be the primary communications specialist. The cave systems in Valles Marineris contain crystalline formations that amplify quantum signals. That's how I can reach you." "But how do I get to Mars?" "You volunteer for the Mars Colonial Program. Applications open next month." Day 20, Marcus received the application materials for NASA's Mars Colonial Program. He hadn't told anyone he was interested. Day 25. "Marcus, I need you to understand something. This isn't about changing the past. It's about choosing the right future. In my timeline, humanity gave up on space exploration after the Artemis disaster. We never developed the technology to save Earth from the asteroid that hits in 2157. Asteroid? Designated 2024 XK47, currently classified as non-threatening. But orbital calculations are wrong. Without Mars colonization, without the mining technology we developed there, humanity doesn't survive." Day 30 brought the most disturbing message. "Marcus, stop trying to trace my location. I know you're using the deep space network to triangulate the signal source. What you'll find in that cave will terrify you." But Marcus couldn't stop. He'd been secretly using NASA resources to map the exact source of the transmissions. The coordinates led to a specific cave system in Valles Marineris. Using the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter's high-rise camera, he zoomed in on the cave entrance. What he saw made his blood freeze. Outside the cave, partially buried in Martian soil, was the wreckage of a spacecraft. Human-built, and on the hull, barely visible through dust and debris, were the words, NASA, Mars Colonial Mission, 2026. Day 31. You found the crash site, didn't you? I survived the landing, Marcus. Barely. The quantum crystals in the cave kept me alive long enough to establish the communication link. But I'm not alone here. What do you mean? The cave systems connect to something much older, much larger. The quantum signals aren't just carrying my voice back in time. They're carrying something else forward. Day 32 was the last transmission Marcus received. Marcus, you have a choice. You can follow this path, volunteer for Mars, develop the technology to save humanity from the asteroid. Or you can try to prevent it all, try to keep me from ever coming here. But if you do that, both timelines collapse and neither of us survives. What should I do? Trust yourself, trust the universe, and when you get to Mars, look for the blue crystals in the deep caves. They hold the key to everything. The transmission stopped. Marcus stared at his equipment for weeks, waiting for another signal. Nothing came. 6 months later, Marcus boarded the spacecraft that would take him to Mars as part of the colonial mission. As they approached the red planet, he looked down at the Valle Marineris canyon system and wondered if somewhere in those caves, another version of himself was already preparing to send messages back through time. The cycle was beginning again. Or perhaps it was ending. Only time would tell. Did this story challenge your understanding of reality? Do you believe consciousness could transcend time through quantum mechanics? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you believe mind-bending stories like this need to be heard, don't forget to follow the Frontline Voices.